What's the difference between a preferred payment and an interest payment? They're both payments. They both, accomplish the same thing. At the end of the day, you open your checkbook, you write a check, the person gets the check, they deposit the check. What's the difference? Like everything that happens in our business, a lot of the nuances are invisible. The devil's in the details. What seems very simple on the surface is very complex and very sophisticated underneath the lower levels. So you need to really understand this. This is absolutely imperative that you understand one of the most important concepts in our entire business. So first of all, let's take a look at interest. Interest is a contract. You make a contract with somebody, they loan you some money, you agree you're going to make them a certain amount of payment every month, quarter, every day, whatever the period is, and you have to create that obligation. You have to fulfill that obligation, or else they have certain rights. If you breach the contract, the lender has the ability to foreclose, take the property away from you. Any invested equity could go away from you. So there are some real significant downsides to interest. Now, an interest payment might seem small, like maybe you get away with a little lower interest rate than you can a preferred. Maybe the preferred is a little higher than your interest rate. But the preferred doesn't come with all those contractual obligations. The preferred is a best effort. So you get paid first. You get a preference, so we're going to pay you before I get paid. So the investors get paid before the promoter gets paid. And if there's not enough to go around, then they get whatever there is first, and then the promoter may not get anything. And if the investor doesn't get all what they're promised, then you may have to accumulate, say in other words, let's say you owe the person 8% on their invested capital balance. Let's say there's only 5% to go around. So you give them the 5%, and then you hold on so that next time, when you make another distribution, they may have to get the next 3 before you get anything, and they may have more that accumulates over time. So the preferred has an accumulation system built in. Now you want to make sure you do your preferred and make it cumulative but not compounded. You don't want the cumulative to be compounding itself, because then it could spiral out of control and the promoter will never get paid. So that's very common. But the preferred is a really good mechanism for making sure that that whatever money there is goes first to the investors without obligating yourself to paying anybody if there's anything to go around. Because if there's nothing to pay, you might have to pay out of your own self, or you're going to lose your equity, or something else could go wrong. So the preferred is really powerful, and even though they sound similar because they're both payments, they're both write checks, they're entirely different from each other, and they're very important. And by the way, the preferred is usually called the hurdle. The hurdle is what you have to jump over, which is the 8% or whatever. Typically, it could be 7, 8, 9, depends on a lot of factors and whatever you want to offer your investors. But the hurdle is what you have to jump over before there's going to be some kind of a waterfall, which is the distribution or payout to the investors, the promoter, and all the other people who are involved. So you want to be very careful to lay out your preferred in a way that's going to work for you. You want to make sure that you're very, very clear about the differences between your preferred. So preferred equity means that you're going to be paying these people before you get paid. And if there's not enough to go around, they get whatever there is, as opposed to any other kind of equity or other instruments that you're going to use. Now, it's not to say that these things are mutually exclusive. You could have preferred equity. You could also use debt in your transaction. It could even be with the same people, but there would be different contracts for different kinds of things. So you might have preferred equity in general for a specific property. You might have subordinated debt or something where you have secured debt. So there could be a lot of different ways that you do this. You just have to get it right in a way that works for you, so that the right structure. And as long as you're crystal clear, then you'll be successful in this business, and you'll be able to go out and stake your claim.